So you all despise Revelations 1:15. And I don't know if I was a Caucasian or if I was an Arab or if I was a Chinese person, China man, right? I don't know what I would think. Maybe I would despise 115, Revelations 1:15 as well. But you have to understand something. There's no way around Revelations 1:15. It's solid. It's set in stone. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing anybody can do about it. The point that I'm making here is that Christ just said in John 12:46, he says, I have come as light into the world. Why? Because this world is full of darkness. This world is full of religion. This world is full of people that are leaning upon their own understandings. This world is full of professors and scientists and doctors and all of these things that you think you know it all. You think you know everything. You think you got it all panned out, right? Many of you are going to die to death because you lean upon your own understanding and you think that the word of Christ, you think that you are above the word of Christ. You're so foolish. You're so stupid, right? All this man-made knowledge, but yet so stupid, so slow in wisdom, right? And then you all take a look at someone like me and you decide you want to mock me and you want to belittle me and all of these things. Proceed, right? Now, I want you to the young lady that says, why do I always bring my messages so late? I swear to Christ, there's no specific reason except for the reason that, and I'm not even claiming all too busy, specifically on Sundays, which is one of the reasons why Sundays and Wednesdays were always my slowest days. But now my slow days, they kind of vary now. So I want to switch it to random because, sometimes Sundays I have a lot of things to do because, Sundays is not always, because Friday sunset to Saturday sunset is the Shabbat. Now, not that I always run a clean Shabbat. Sometimes, I break Shabbat. That's just being straight up 100, because that's the problem with the circumcision right now. Many of you are false, fakes, phonies. You act like you're so perfect and you're wicked as hell. Many of you in the circumcision, you're some evil some of my bitches. But you always act like you this and act like you that. That's your problem. That's why many of you all are going to die in the wilderness if you even get there, because you think you so tidied up, right? You think you're so holy. You think you're such a saint, right? Many of you are evil, and many of you who are in the circumcision, those who claim Christ even, are going to die to death. We're going to see who the real. We're going to separate the wheat from the tares. Christ is going to separate the wheat from the tares. Whether you're in the circumcision, whether you're so-called Hebrew Israelite, whether you're so-called Christian, whether you're so-called Muslim, no matter your background, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Some of you Hebrew Israelites like to talk about the Christians and the Muslims, when there are some Muslims and some Christians who are better in mind and heart than you would ever be. There are some of you right now, whether you are in a camp, not in a camp, who are soloists, individualists, some of you right now who are wicked as hell, that slander and gossip and do all of these things and use manipulative things across social media, and you all claiming to be people of the Bible. So that's why I can't get into all of that. To the young lady, why am I bringing my messages late? No really specific reason except for the fact that, the messages, they take a little time to make. And then, there's family members that I want to see throughout the course of my day, and I want to see them every day. I have to spend time with my children. I have to spend time with my mother. I have to spend time with my wife. I have to spend time with my aunt. I got to spend time with myself. I got to spend time with my daughter. I got to sit down. I got to think of this. I got to think of that. You know what I'm saying? It's just normal things of a man, of a black man, of any man, really, of any man, to be honest with you. Right? So it's just not something that I can really do. Now, I can make it a day ahead of time and then release it in the morning. Now, I've done that on a couple occasions, right? But sometimes I feel as though if I get done and I can drop it by 12, then yeah. Now, I'll admit, if it's like I'm where I can't drop it till 1 or 2 o'clock, then yeah, I'll wait till the next day. You know what I'm saying? So Christ is the light in this world. So he's the one that has called all of us out of darkness into his marvelous light. So that's what many of you need to understand. But guess what? I'm wasting my breath. I'm wasting my breath. Many of you want to see this message just because there's a drama behind me. And so many of you don't really even give a damn about the message. You don't. You a silly ass nigga and you a silly ass woman if you come here for anything other than knowledge and for the word of God. You silly as shit and you need mental help. Many of you come here just for your own personal reasons, and you take the message, you shit on the message. You shit on the message just because you stupid as shit. If anybody comes here to listen to this message and you shit on the message and you come here for everything but the message, which is not even logical. It doesn't even make sense to come here for anything other than the message. I said what I said. If you come in here other than to listen to the message of God, then you have a mental issue. That's just the truth. Okay? It's at the point now where it just doesn't make some sense. You don't like the things that I got to say. If you don't believe the word of God, then, just stop coming and listening. Because many of you are foreordained to be destroyed. And you don't even take that seriously. Okay? So we are a chosen generation. That's who we are as a people. A royal priesthood. Now, so we were called to carry out a priesthood. Okay? But I want you all to understand something. Priests, okay? There are no high priests today, okay? I'd like to say there are no priests, but for right now, let me speak what I know for sure, okay? There's something that you all need to understand about a priest, okay? And this message is not about a priest. I just want us to understand something because I've said this before. Christ is our priest, okay? Christ is the only person that's ordained. A lot of people, the Catholic Church and the Vatican and all of these people are blasphemous. There's no way in hell that there could be any priests today. Why? Because Elohim himself has to ordain the priests. Now, there's a complication that comes into that because for many of you who've read the Old Testament or who know even a little bit about the Old Testament, Aaron, remember I said that this message was more so geared to the learned. So if you're somebody who's in religion or somebody who's has a street background and you're not completely too sure what I'm talking about here, I've already explained that this message was more so geared toward the learned, to those in the circumcision. But I advise you all to stay. Don't leave, because if some of you can grasp this, then you need to be proud of yourself and you're in a very good place. Okay? So, Moses ordained Aaron, his brother, but the authority came from Yahuwah. So Yahuwah commanded Moses to ordain Aaron. So it's not like Moses chose Aaron. Christ chose Aaron. Okay? Now, Christ doesn't make mistakes. Aaron certainly wasn't a worthy priest, but he was the most worthy priest available. He was, number one, he was a Levite. Him and Moses were Levites, so only he could be a priest because it was the Levitical priesthood. So only Levites could be priests. Okay, bam, that's number one. So there aren't any priests today. First, you would have to be a Levite to be a priest. being a Levite is a little bit more complicated than a lot of people think it is. There are a lot of people that think that there's even some organizations that think that just because you're from Haiti, that makes you a Levite. No. That's foolish. That's absolute foolishness. It's foolishness, which is the reason why Paul told us not to have conversations about genealogies and things of that nature, because it really gets kind of deep, and I'm not going to get into it. I don't want to get into that here. But first of all, you would have to be a Levite in order to be a priest. Bam! That's it. To be any type of priest, whether it's an ordinary priest or a high priest. Okay, you would have to be a Levite. Bam! All right. Now, unless you're after the priesthood of Melchizedek. So, listen. All right, we're going to find out who Melchizedek is, okay? Because I brought this person out of nowhere. So we're going to find out who Melchizedek is, right? And then it's not that I'm going to explain the priesthood necessarily, because I told you this message is not about a priesthood. But I need you black people to understand something. That the only reason why we have grace, the only reason why we have favor right now, because believe me, many of you niggas, you don't want to live under the Old Testament conditions, because if many of you niggas lived under the Old Testament conditions, many of you would already be put to death. You'd be dead men and women already, right? If you were under the Levitical priesthood. So, you got to understand something. The Old Testament, you don't want to live under the conditions of the Old Testament, okay? We're under a renovated covenant. We're in the same covenant, but we're midway through we're midway now. We're in the middle ground, because we're not in the new covenant yet, because if we were in the new covenant, then we would have a mind completely like Christ, meaning we'd be transformed, meaning we wouldn't even be able to sin. We would not know sin. The new covenant is when you're transformed, and when you will no longer know sin. You will not be able to sin, because your mind will be completely renewed by Elohim, by Christ. Okay? We're not there yet, because we still are under choice. We're not under free will, as many of you would think we are, okay? But we're under choice. Why are we not under free will? Because if we don't operate under his will, you're going to burn in fire. So it's not a free will, but it's a choice. He's given us all choice. We can choose. Either you choose life or you choose death. Free will and freedom of choice are not exactly the same thing. Okay? So, let us now, because I don't want to lose track of where I'm at now. Now, my messages could always be, I am very capable. I'm speaking to the circumcision. I'm not speaking to those in religion, and I'm not speaking to those of a street background. And I'm not even speaking to the scientists and the professors. Why? Because you all are on the same level. You scientists and you professors and you scholars are on the same level of the men and women that have street backgrounds. In fact, many of you are not more intelligent than those that have street backgrounds. You may have more academic, scholastic knowledge, but that's only the Caucasian construct knowledge. That doesn't make you more intelligent than anybody from the streets. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I don't think many of you Caucasians and black people that have these master's degrees and doctorate degrees, I don't think you completely understand what I just said. So I'm going to reiterate it for you all. I am about to speak to you scientists, you professors, all of you out there that have masters and doctorates and professor's degrees. I want you to listen very carefully. Okay? You only have scholastic academic knowledge, which really, to be honest with you, it doesn't count for shit. It doesn't. It only accounts for your career. That's it. If you want to be a scientist, then you go and you learn the white man's construct to be a scientist. If you want to be a historian or any of those things, then you have to go to school and you have to learn the knowledge, the Caucasian construct knowledge, in order to excel in your career. But that has nothing to do with intelligence. You take that financial status, that career status away from you, and you're in the same planes with those brothers and sisters that have street backgrounds, or so-called quote unquote ghetto backgrounds, or so-called quote unquote project backgrounds. Just because they may speak Ebonics, just because they're English, quote unquote, English is a wicked language. Don't nobody give a F-U-C-K about talking proper English. Let me repeat that, because many of you need to understand what I'm saying here. Because many of you, spiritual things must be spiritually discerned. No one cares, no one gives a F-U-C-K about speaking so-called proper English. English doesn't mean anything to me. English is a diluted language. It's the most diluted language, coming all the way from the Hebrew tongue. You have the Hebrew tongue, you have the Aramaic tongue, you have the Greek tongue, you have the Latin tongue, and now you have the English tongue. And then there are other languages. You have Chinese language, you have Russian language, you have all these other languages, right? No one cares about speaking any language with any properness, if that's even a word. I don't care. This has nothing to do with intelligence. Some people that are from the streets will run rings around you scientists, you scholars, and you professors. They'll run rings around you with common sense. Rings around you. So you need to understand that. Stop putting yourself on a pedestal because you went to school and was taught the white construct of knowledge, the wisdom of this world. Stop doing that. That's your problem. And that's why many of you all think you know everything. Y'all don't know nothing. Y'all don't know nothing. Know your career. That's what you need to know. If you want to talk about combustion, the fuels, and the splitting the atoms and this dark matter and all that, for whatever at least you think you know about it, then you go ahead and you deal with at least you think you know about it. But in many cases, even in your own field, you're wrong about that, because science is only a theory. So you don't really know anything. So many of you look at people who may rap, or you may look at people who just play basketball, and you say all they can do is rap or play ball, rap or play basketball, rap or play sports, right? And then you attempt to look down on those black folks in terms of you're smarter, you're more intelligent than them. You playing yourself. You playing yourself. No one cares about the wisdom of this world. I don't give a damn about the wisdom of this world. It means nothing to me. Okay? So, what I want you black people to understand is that if a mortal human being, okay? If we had a mortal priest today, see, we don't have a mortal priest today. Now, we have to have a priest. It's a must. And I told you all before, and what I wanted to say is I'm capable of making messages that are more detailed, but I don't really have time right now to make extremely detailed messages. There are a lot of scriptures that I could bring up, but I just don't have the time to do that right now. So I don't want anybody in the circumcision to think that because my messages You all know what I'm capable of. But I'm not just speaking to the circumcision like a lot of you in the circumcision do. Many of you in the circumcision, all you do is speak to people that's in the circumcision. When Christ is reaching his hand out to all his children, no matter the background of his children. Okay? So now, what I want all of you to understand is that Yahusha, the Christ, right now, there are three offices. There's an office of king, there's an office of priest, and there's an office of prophet, right? Or messenger. Okay? Well, prophet, which is a messenger, but Christ right now is holding all three offices. Now, I know to many of you, however, that's the advantage that the circumcision has over those who are in religion and those with the street background. Because many of you within the street background, some of you make me sick too. Because you all you worried about is appeasing people and being gangster and being cool and being swaggy. That's stupid shit. It's going to come to a point, like I keep telling y'all, that's not going to mean anything to you. All your fly gear and your Dior and your chains and all your coolness and your swippity swap and and I did this and I did some odd years in prison. Many of you are being brainwashed because those of you who get paid to I know that many of you are saying, hey, listen, I don't want the young folks to go to prison, right? But it's actually reverse psychology. What you're getting paid to do is to use reverse psychology because you're actually glorifying jail and you don't think you are. Now, I'm going to make this message sometime in the near future. But many of you who jump into the program when you come out of prison or whatever the case may be, when these people that govern you, your handlers, make you think that you're actually teaching kids or teaching the youth to stay out of jail. Now, you are, but you're also, in a reverse way, you're glorifying it because many of you are making yourself that person, that man, that ball, simply because you've been arrested. So many of the young men will say, well, hey, listen, I need that notch on my belt. You understand what I'm saying? In order to be like this OG or this person right here. Now, a lot of you didn't understand what I just said, and that's fine because that's what this message is about right now, and I'm going to elaborate on that at another time. Okay? But I just want you to understand how you're being psyched out to use reverse psych out. Okay? Now, you think that sounded foolish and stupid, right? Well, there'll come a point in time where I'll make it very clear to you all, okay? But now, okay, so understand that Christ now has all three offices. Christ now is the king, he's the priest, and he's the prophet. Now, black people, I need you to understand something. There's no person on this planet right now that's a priest. Oh, but such and such, I don't care what they call themselves. A priest cannot ordain himself. Really, to be honest with you, no messenger for God can ordain himself. Seminary school is foolishness. Seminary school is foolishness. Seminary school is foolishness. Got 2 more times to say that, right? Seminary school is idiocy. Seminary school is stupid. There's no way that a man can ordain himself a messenger of Elohim. He can't do it. Now, first of all, I know what a lot of you are thinking, right? I didn't ordain myself anything, okay? One thing I tell you I know I'm not is a priest. That's an impossibility on my behalf, okay? I'm not even a Levite, okay? Now, I am a messenger of God, okay? So, I'll prove that through the scriptures. I'm not going to do it with this message. But I'm going to prove who I am through the scriptures. Okay? Because I know I've told you all that I am a messenger of Elohim. And I have come to the conclusion through the scriptures that I am. Through the scriptures. Not because I want to be. Not because I say I am. Okay? But, just to let you know, there are a lot of people. For many are called, but only a few are chosen. Many people will step up to now. Let us keep going, right? Because let me now explain. Let's go. Let me let the scriptures talk. I'm going to let Paul talk. Let's go to Hebrews 5, and I guess we'll read 1 through 10. Hebrews 5, 1 through 10. Hebrews chapter 5, 1 through 10. I'm going to do this a little backwards. I'm going to go to the New Testament, and then I'm going to go to the Old Testament. I'm going to give you Paul, and then I'm going to tell you what Paul's talking about. Hebrews chapter 5, and we're going to read the first 10 verses, right? For every high priest taken from among men is appointed for men in things pertaining to Elohim. Every high priest is taken from among men for men. I need y'all to listen. I need y'all to give your ear. Don't just look at me. I need you to listen to the message. For every high priest is taken from among men for men. Okay? From among men for men. You're going to see why God had to come in the flesh. Christ had to come in the flesh. The only way Christ could have... See, let me read, okay? Okay, so every high priest is taken from among men and is appointed for men in things pertaining Elohim. In things pertaining Elohim. Okay? That's what a priest is for. A priest is taken from people for people, specifically men, because there's no such thing as a female priest. A man from the people, for the people, in things pertaining to God. Okay? He's to be a mediator between God and people. That's the purpose of a priest. He's a mediator. Now, we all know Christ is a mediator, right? Okay. So, Christ is in the courtroom as we're being judged, as we're under favor. And he's fighting on our behalf, right? What is he fighting against? It's not that he's fighting against it, but he's saying that he is the atoner for the sins of black people, with not against his own law, but under his own law. Now, just listen. Okay? So, pertaining to things of God, that he may offer both gifts and sacrifices for sins. He can have compassion on those who are ignorant and going astray. See, the priest can have compassion on those who are ignorant or going astray. He can have compassion on those who are ignorant, who are not knowing, or those who are going astray. Okay? The priest can do this. Okay? Since he himself is also subject to weakness. So he can have compassion since he himself is also subject to weakness. Why? Because he's a man just like everybody else. But I want you to see something here. Because of this, he is required, as for the people, so also for himself. Because of this, he is required, as for the people, so also for himself, to offer sacrifices for sins, to offer the sacrifices for sins. And no man takes this honor to himself, and no man takes this honor to himself. No man takes this honor to himself. There's not a man on the planet that can say, I am ordaining myself as a priest. You can't do it. So there's not a human being